I'll try to make this as fast as possible. I am blown away right now. You have no idea. A room with a view. It astonished me. I thought I was done with love letters, but it looks like I have one more to make. All we could ever ask for in life is a room with a view, someone who we love, body and soul, people like a young Julian Sands or a young Helena Bonham Carter, people who really are completed examples of masculine or feminine attractiveness, people who mean the entire world to us on an erotic level, on an intellectual level, but most of all on a visceral one, on one that truly matters, that truly transcends, that truly makes life worth living in the sense that you actually feel like you are experiencing life itself by loving them and being in love. Helena Bonham Carter's character, Lucy, is living inauthentically and without passion. That's really what inauthentically means in James Ivory's A Room with a View. She's living a life without true experiences. Even a priest remarks to her, if I were writing a novel, you would be my heroine, and I would write if Miss Honeychurch ever takes to live as she plays piano, it will be very exciting for both for us and for her. She even serves to be a muse for several different people, and this is like a muse just mad that she is one. She's a muse for Bartlett's novel, where Bartlett writes basically a fictive account of a tryst that never happened, but that definitely should have between Lucy and George, played remarkably well by Julian Sands. She serves as a muse for people like the priest who just kind of live in repression, live untruthfully, live having to repress their own life experiences as well, and they're kind of sitting back and like almost vicariously just hoping that someone truthful, someone beautiful, someone young and in love gets to experience something in this life. Life is meant to be experienced, after all. Daniel Day-Lewis is probably the worst, most guilty of this, most guilty of trying to turn Helena Bonham Carter into a muse, and a muse is truly a possession when you get down to it. Daniel Day-Lewis plays Cecil, who is remarkable. He's remarkable in the film, of course. He's Daniel Day-Lewis. It's wonderful seeing him so juxtaposed to be like effete or emasculated next to Julian Sands. That's quite the dichotomy, and it really, really works in such a poetic way. This movie is just mind-blowing. But Daniel Day-Lewis plays the punished snob, in George's own words. That's Julian Sands' character. He doesn't know what a woman is. He wants you as a possession, like a painting or an ivory box, something to own and to display. He doesn't want you to be real and to think and to live. He doesn't love you, but I love you. I want you to have your own thoughts, ideas, and feelings, even when I hold you in my arms. So even when George possesses her, he wants her to be liberated simultaneously, viscerally, just naturally as well. And then Helena Bonham Carter tells Cecil, Daniel Day-Lewis later on, you wrap yourself up in art and books and music, and now you want to wrap me up as well. Whereas Julian Sands is frustrated with a world that refuses to understand what should be incredibly simplistic to comprehend, is that love is almost the primary experience of life, or love should be the motivating spirit, the motivating factor of living. And it would be pitiful, it would be just pathetic if you were to deny yourself life's most tender, most sincere, that's really the word, the most sincere experience life can offer you is love. And Julian Sands is symbolic completely of sincerity. His father even remarks that everyone has lied. Everyone's been lying but George. It's sincerity. Lucy herself has deceived everyone, including herself, whereas George I mean, we first see him through these bizarre motifs of him drawing question marks on things. He has a mystique. He is somewhat unknowable, and yet his eroticism, his male eroticism, is so palpable. It's so physical, and you want to feel it, and you want to experience it, because then you realize that is his primary, like, that is his motivation, is experiencing life and experiencing it authentically, which means with passion and with sincerity, so with a sincere, impassioned will. His father was a radical, or at least he's referred to as a radical, with mistrust all enterprises that require new clothes on his cabinet, right, on his boudoir. This film is so joyful, so true. It's all about what you can experience, and there are delightful homoeroticisms in here, because life is about experience. Life isn't about any sort of boundary. And Helena Bonham Carter, fuck my life. I'm captivated by the woman, and I want her to suffocate me. In fact, can both Julian Sands and Helena Bonham Carter murder me? Simultaneously in a ferocious bit of passion, please? I mean, that's really the way to go. That's really the way to go. And Daniel Day-Lewis's Sissel is an extraordinary character. I almost called him a villain, because he almost is. He goes against the true spirit and the true tenderness of the film. Ugly things upset Cecil, and all three central performances are astounding, but when Daniel Day-Lewis reads the fictive, romanticized account of Helena Bonham Carter's and Julian Sands' unlived tryst, it's really, really compelling that he is so shallow, and he is getting lost in this situation, which is really a situation that could have happened, that should have happened, that, of course, is fated to happen. Of course, with Julian Sands, fate is an extremely integral part of his character. It's a passion that he cannot give Helena Bonham Carter, and it's a passion he can read and pretend to identify with, and even slightly kind of like mock, like an aristocrat. And it completely exposes his artifice, his complete insincerity, which is probably the most unattractive thing that you could have in this film, at least according to Lucy, according to Helena Bonham Carter's character, because George is... everything that he does is truthful. Everything he does is authentic. Every event that takes place, everything that he attempts to uncover, everything that he does in life, he is trying to experience in its totality, which is why he takes advantage of moments. Not even advantage of moments, he actually takes moments for what they are, and most moments are fateful, most moments are magical. We're just so disillusioned or disenchanted that we don't recognize the romantic truths behind these situations. That's why he grabs Helena Bonham Carter and kisses her in a field in Italy, right? That's why he gives into an impulse, because that impulse is the true experience, and that impulse is coming from a sincere place, because we know him to be a sincere individual. It's breathtakingly life-changing. Being the son of a radical, this film also kind of posits that all the sons and daughters of the radicals and of the fighters are the romantics of our modern age of anxiety. And the romantics are the ones who can authentically live through this age of anxiety. And it's the romantics who we should try to be more like, because the romantics are the authentics. The romantics are the ones who actually experience life as a pure thing, as a thing worth losing yourself in. And Helena Bonham Carter is certainly a beauty worth losing yourself in completely and devoting all of your energy to. She is definitely that place where fate leads to. She might be fate's end. Every decision you've ever made in that point, every experience you've ever encountered in your life has been leading you to the ultimate experience of life itself, and that is Helena Bonham Carter's touch, her love, her tenderness, her true passion, because she keeps it within her piano playing, she keeps it within her art, and yet other people can kind of derive the passion that is hidden inside of her, the truthfulness, out of her, and put it into their own works. which is, to a certain extent, what Daniel Day-Lewis's character is trying to do. It's misappropriating her. It's deliberately misunderstanding her. It's not freeing her. And of course, she's not someone who could be freed by man. She has to free herself, and I mean, thank God she does. This film is about teaching lessons, and and I mean, I'm not sure if it's about that, but it certainly taught me so many valuable lessons about life and about where I have made errors in my love life. I I need to be more like George Emerson. I need to be more like Julian Sands in this film. I need to live authentically. I need to live passionately. I need to live in complete sincerity. And that doesn't mean to lose my intellect, to lose my thoughts, to lose my simmering, my pondering, because of course George is he does seem a bit sensitive, a bit tortured sometimes. But it's like all of the torture of life, all of that existential dread pays off in one kiss from the right human being. And not just the right human being, the human being that can define your life, that can define all of your experiences and turn that question mark into an exclamation point or at least a period where it makes sense now. Everything you've done to get to the person that you love, the person who you cherish, it makes sense because you finally found a sacred woman, a sacred man, a sacred person, a sacred individual. You found a love that is precious. And all of the self-loathing that life can bring to people who have a bit too much self-awareness or a bit too much awareness of the world that they become slightly cynical. All of that self-loathing, self-hate, self-doubt, self-defeat, it makes sense because all of a sudden you are a champion. All of a sudden you have found the thing worth championing in this life, which just leaves you asking so many questions, so many metaphysical ones, as well as political ones. There are definitely statements in this film about class, about society. They are subtle and nuanced statements, and I believe that they are undertones of the film, whereas the true spirit of the film is about love, about tenderness, about sincerity, about masculine beauty, about feminine self-worth, and about love, about having to be in love. I want to love. I want to love so badly. I I've been doing it wrong. Director James Ivory's composition is astounding. This is kind of neoclassicism with kind of like a postmodern self-awareness as well, especially in the title cards. And it is astonishing on every level. It's simply one of my new favorite films because it is speaking directly to me, and it's speaking to me in a romantic language, in romantic tongues, and it's trying to communicate with me something almost indescribable, something that you can't exactly articulate, but you can certainly feel. It's that feeling you get when you get lost in Helena Bonham Carter on screen. It is that erotic feeling that Julian Sands compels from you with his smoldering looks. It is cinematic truthfulness, and by extension of that, it's philosophical honesty, but more importantly than anything else, it is simple sincerity. And simple sincerity is what I find most lacking in my life. Walk around with question marks over my head all day long. Cecil was a man who refused to experience the pleasures of life. A possession is not something that Helena Bonham Carter's character is. She is a remarkably outrageously beautiful woman. You can't possess an experience. An experience is shared. An experience is just that, an experience. You can't possess it. You can't frame it. You can't trap it inside of a song or a painting or a poem. And yet experiences, those are the things that define life. And love is the ultimate experience of life. We are made to experience each other. We are made to experience the people who we're drawn to magnetically. We're created to get lost in each other, not to create. We are created to get lost in experiences, not to create devotions to that experience. And love is an experience to get lost inside of, not something to crystallize. It's not something that could ever be caught in stasis. You want to experience Helena Bonham Carter. You want to experience Julian Sands. And when you say experience this person, you really want to know them, body and soul, inside and out. Really just go through everything, every nook and cranny of that individual, intellectually and physically. And give yourself to a lived sincerity. To sincerity, to passion, to music as something lived, not something performative. Lucy, George, and Cecil are eternal, in my view. In my room with a view. A room with a view tells us that we all live in some sort of captivity. And that captivity is existential, and it's inescapable in a very large way. We all live inside of a room. It could be made up of class division. It could be made up of self-doubt. What we want in life, the only thing we could possibly ask for, is a room with a view. A room that overlooks the great experience that's life itself. I hope I find that. In this life of captivity, I hope I find my room with a view.